Unit 30, Miraculous Organ. The human brain is a miraculous organ that has many functions. The brain regulates thought, memory, judgment, personal identity, and other aspects of what is commonly called the mind. It also regulates many other aspects of the human body, including body temperature, blood pressure, and the activity of internal organs. All of these brain activities help the body respond to its environment and to maintain sound health. In fact, the brain is considered so central to human well-being and survival that the death of the brain is considered in many parts of the world to be the legal test to determine whether a person has died. The brain is generally defined as the part of the central nervous system that is contained in the skull. The rest of the central nervous system consists of an elongated tube of nerve tissue called the spinal cord. The spinal cord extends from the base of the brain and is enclosed within the bony vertebral canal. The brain controls the activities of the body and receives information about the body's inner workings and about the outside world by sending and receiving signals via the spinal cord and the peripheral nervous system. The brain receives oxygen and food it needs to function through a vast network of arteries. The arteries carry fresh blood to every part of the brain. The brain of a human adult weighs about 3 pounds, or 1.35 kilograms. It looks like a mushroom contained within the skull. The cap of the mushroom, the very top of the brain, is the cerebrum. The stem of the mushroom is the part of the brain that is attached to the spinal cord. This is called the medulla oblongata, or brainstem. At the back of the head, lying between the brainstem and the cerebrum, is the area known as the cerebellum. Generally, the lower part of the brain is within the skull. The more primitive and basic its function is. Also, the less likely it is that conscious control is involved in regulating the function. Thus, the brainstem, the lowest part of the brain, is involved with the most basic processes, such as relaying information between parts of the brain or between the brain and the body to regulate basic body functions. The cerebellum controls balance and coordination. The cerebrum, the topmost part of the brain, is the thinking part of the brain. Unit 31, Doorways of the World. The chief doorways of the world of international commerce are its harbors and ports. Cargoes and travelers from one part of the world to another pass through them. A harbor is any sheltered body of water where boats or ships may moor or anchor. A port is an installation built around a harbor. It consists of facilities for loading and unloading vessels. Ordinarily, a harbor, either natural or artificial, must exist before a port facility can be set up. Some large harbors, such as San Francisco Bay on the California coast, for example, are used by several ports. Some ports, such as Chicago, Illinois, on Lake Michigan, are served by several small harbors. The main requirements of a good harbor are direct access to the water and sufficient depth for vessels to enter and exit safely. Ocean harbors are commonly 40 feet, 12 meters deep or more. The harbor should be well protected against storms and large waves. The bottom of the harbor should provide good holding ground for anchors. It must not be too rocky, too sandy, or too muddy. The harbor should also be spacious enough for ships to ride at anchor and to maneuver. Currents and tides must not be excessive. Harbors are classified according to their location and structure. A natural coastal harbor is formed by a bay, New York City for example, or by an offshore barrier such as an island, Hong Kong, China. A coastal breakwater harbor, Casablanca, Morocco, is sheltered by one or more artificial breakwaters. A tide gate harbor has locks that enclose areas of the harbor at high tide. As water leaves the harbor with low tide, the water level in the locked-off areas remains constant. At the port of Liverpool, England, tide gates are a necessity, for the tidal range of its harbor is approximately 21 feet, 6.3 meters. A natural river harbor, New Orleans, Louisiana, is sheltered from storms by the narrowness of the river. A river basin harbor, Rotterdam, the Netherlands, has slips or docking ramps dug into the riverbanks to accommodate vessels. A lake harbor or canal harbor, Bruges in Belgium, is on a small lake or an artificial canal that is connected with the open water by means of a navigable waterway. An open roadstead harbor offers little protection from storms, though it may serve as a port. These harbors are found along the coasts of Africa.